He threw that patch on, make it look like he was in a club, but he was never in a club.
They want to be able to tack like 15 felonies upon jaywalking across the street. This outlaw motorcycle member and it doesn't matter what they stack on you.
Because they're a friend or they know somebody and they start hanging them around and making them official hang around. Next thing you know, they're prospecting. Before you know it, they got a patch. And I'm going, you've never been in a club.
His dad was a bandito. He borrowed $100 from the club. It might have been 1,000. I don't know. But his own son was 86.
I think it was from that point on, I was like, one day, I'm going to be one of those guys.
And he said, if you don't get on a stand, you're going to lose. You're going to jail. I said, I can't take the stand.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Repo, Rod, and PeeWee. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Hey, what's happening?
You like the new intro?
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah,
that was nice.
I can't testify, man. Today, I want to talk to you guys about, there's a lot of talk in the news recently about this Aurora, Colorado, and bikers going to save the day out in Aurora. And I want to know what's you guys' opinion on that whole situation.
A joke. I think it's a joke. I mean, those guys wouldn't come out of those clubhouses unless they were burnt out.
I spoke with Bill last week, I think, on it, and I said it's total bullshit. There's no benefit in it for them, and it has nothing to do with club business. They ain't going anywhere.
Right.
You get a 15, 20 of them go out there that are already felons. What's the first thing that's going to happen to them? They're going to be a $5 million world assessment going on for stupidity that had nothing to do with anything, so they're not going to get their money. They're just going to sit and rot.
You see how the rumor snowballed into something crazy?
Oh, yeah. No, I just got sick of the phone calls, bro.
Yep.
Everybody was calling me, asking me, is it true? Is it true? I go, stop. I stopped answering my phone.
Have you ever seen them band together against anything in the past?
No, not even their enemies. The only time they'll band together against their enemy is when the enemy makes the first move and jumps up,
Yeah.
But they don't go out of their way to go find anybody or to do what they're supposed to do. Yeah. They're still living off of what the guys did back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Yep. Now you got it right on the head, PeeWee.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying
the original structure of the club that these other guys built. These newer ones, not all of them, but a lot. They're riding a coattail. They're riding the coattails, nothing else.
I agree.
When the Proud Boys were something was going on with the Proud Boys. You were saying, PeeWee.
The Proud Boys.
Remember, they had some beef with the Proud Boys or something. They were going to come and handle business.
No, what it was. Remember when all that Black Lives Matter bullshit was going on? They were going to go take care of Antifa, whatever you call it.
Oh yeah, Antifa. Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah.
Another phone call.
Bullshit
another
story.
Rumor that one. Another story. Right. That sums it right up.
Did you see that they released a statement to the public?
Yeah. It probably took them somebody who finished college to write that and figure out what to say. It was halfway intelligent. And I read it and I said, God damn, nobody in the club could have wrote that.
I'm like, damn, these are big words.
Man. That was a paid speech.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, did George Christie write this or something?
George is a good writer, Here, George. He's a good storyteller, man. He's got a lot of stories to tell.
But what happened to Big Jeremy, man?
I think he was wrapped up with a tattoo.
He might have been doing that. Yeah, I could see him doing that. Probably get him busy. I haven't seen him in a while, so it would have been cool to see him on here and talk to him.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, he's a great storyteller too.
I ever get out his way, I'll keep him busy for a full day.
Yeah,
I'll keep him busy for a full day. I ever get out his way. I got a little bit of room yet to fill out.
Yeah, Jeremy's a big boy, man. He's a big man. Well, he's heavier than me now. You know, I mean, he's heavier than me, but he's not as tall as me. I think Jeremy's probably about 6'5", 6'6". He's pretty big. I know he's got to weigh what I used to weigh, like 450 or something. You know, I mean, I weigh like 320 now. You know.
Did it shock you when he became a bandito?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, because you know, Jeremy's got a good heart, man. His heart's as big as his body, man, and he's got a good heart. He was always a good friend to me, always a good friend. And I used to like riding around with him. Here we got Repo Rod with us, and Jeremy used to be a Repo guy. So he had one of these tow trucks, and you know he'd pull up, run the numbers, boom, it was a car. He'd hook underneath it, bam, up on the rack.
Yep.
I'd be sitting in the passenger seat laughing my ass off, man. Some of these people come running out with guns in their hands, right? And I go, man, what do you do? I said, what do you do, bro? He said, oh, I just get out and talk to him, and I calm him down and shit like that. And I tell him, hey, if you give me the keys to the car, it makes it easier. He says, I'll give you all your shit out of the car. He'll let you take all your crap out of the car, you know?
Yeah.
But most of the people, you know, most of them would just get pissed off and say, you know, and run off. And bro, we take the car, he jimmy the lockup, boom, pop it open. We go through the car. There'd be like 200 CDs in there. There'd be a handgun, nunchucks, you name it, bro. I was there when he found it. But that's what he was doing. He was repoing it. It was funny as man. I had fun with him, man. But he wanted to join a club so bad.
How'd you get the name? How'd you get the name Repo, Rod?
I used to repo too.
It's fun, man.
I'll tell you the best.
I would have done it.
The best repo I ever had was a Harley. I go out to snatch this thing. Now, even though I didn't like those guys, you know, 1% Motorcycle Club, and it was a 16s motorcycle. I actually unlatched it and let it stay, man. I you know, as much as I really didn't care for those guys at that time, I still let his bike stay, man, because, you know, PeeWee, you as well as I know how damn expensive it is to be a Hell's Angel. The amount of money it costs you to be a member. And I can remember being on my ass sometimes when them assessments would come through. Like, bam, bam, bam. And he just like, I just didn't have the heart to take his motorcycle, but you know, I used to love going to all the motorcycle events and just walking around. I'd park the truck 15 blocks away and I'd go to the motorcycle events and walk around and just look at VIN numbers because I knew somewhere I was going to find that money. And if I found 4 or 5 bikes there, I'd call a guy up that had a flatbed and tell him to come down and wait. I'll snatch them, run them down the street to you in a lot, drop them, you put them on your truck. I'm going back to get another one. And sometimes, you know, if it was a big event, you might get 5, 6, 10 bikes out of that place in one day. That was one hell of a payday.
Yeah, I bet.
What do you hook it right to the tow truck? Lift it right off the ground and drive it away?
Yeah, you grab it right on it and go down the road with it. You can take a motorcycle with a repo truck in 30 seconds. You're out of there.
How many repos have you been on, PeeWee?
I went on about 4 of them, 4 or 5 of them with Jeremy. And you know, we just ride around and that's when I was a big guy too. So we'd ride around, eat, drink I don't know how many sodas we'd have, those big gulps. We'd probably drink 4 or 5 of those a night. We'd ride around all night just grabbing cars, man. It was hilarious, bro. I'm telling you. Okay. It's almost like a rush, adrenaline rush, you know? It reminds me back of the days when we used to steal like motorcycles and stuff, and you got that rush from it. Well, this time we were legally stealing them. I had the same rush, so it was pretty cool.
You guys got any stories from when you would steal bikes a long time ago?
I got, well, you know, I didn't do it. I didn't do it as a Hell's Angel. I don't think Repo probably did either. But when I was in a Sinners Motorcycle Club, Yeah, we grabbed probably about 4 or 5 of them, at the time. I almost got shot on the last
can
one.
remember.
I swear to God, man. I almost got shot.
Why you got caught? The guy came out?
Yeah, the guy caught us, man. And it was weird because I was out on probation for stealing some other shit. At a hardware store. We cleaned out a hardware store. We took everything, bro, except the nuts and the bolts. I was selling it, and I got caught. I was the one that got caught, and I was the one that got the jail time, the fine, and everything. I just kept my mouth shut, and I didn't tell the other 2 guys. When they wanted the other 2 guys more than they wanted me. So one of the guys, he was like the bike thief. He was like a big bike thief in the town in Milwaukee. And he says to me, "Hey man," he said, "let's go grab this bike that's in this underground." This is in my book. I wrote this story in my book. We went there, and it's funny because the keys, he had a ring of keys, and Repo will remember this. Remember the little tiny keys, Repo, that they had for Sportsters? And you could buy a ring of them. They go like, I think 1 to 12 or 1 to 20. And I swear to God, man, you buy that ring and you could try them in every Sportster, and one of them was going to work. Well, those keys would work in the underground basements to these apartment buildings, and he would turn it and the door would open up and we'd drive in, Well, this time I parked down the street, and I told you I was on probation. So if I got caught, I was going right to the penitentiary. And we got down there, and I should have knew something was wrong because he goes, "Yeah, this is some old this old shovel head, wide glide, whatever it was." And we got down there, it was a brand new Evo motor. In this bike, it was a brand new Evo. So I walked down and I said, "This doesn't look like no shovel head to me." He said, "Hey, the guy must have bought a new bike." Yeah, he bought a new bike because somebody stole the other one.
Yeah.
So this one he had down there, and this one he had alarm on. He had the alarm on it.
Yeah.
We didn't know it, but when we got up to the bike, I grabbed it and I pulled it over so he could cut the lock off of it. When I pulled it over, bro, I had this bad gut feeling, and Repo will tell you, man, in our business, in our shit, man, if you got a gut feeling, you got to go with it, bro. So I had a bad gut feeling on this one. And the first words out of his mouth was, "Oh, don't be scared. Man, ever since you got caught, you're scared." Well, I said, "Hey, fucker, you're not the one on probation. You're not the one on probation. I am. So if I get caught, I'm going to prison. You're probably going to be put on probation.
Yeah.
I'm already there."
Yeah.
So I had the bike. I had a bad feeling, Billy. I had a really bad feeling. I said, "Hey, man, I don't feel right about this. I don't feel right." And he goes, "Man, will you stop being a fucking pussy?" And all of a sudden, I could hear in a distance these keys jingling. It sounded like this. Like that, keys running.
As he's running after your ass.
And I said, "Hey, man, what the hell is that?" And I put the bike back down on the kickstand, and I swear to God, I just took off. Now, the underground basement went like this. You could either go left or go right. You had 2 ways to go down like that. And we were right by the door. That's where the bike was. So I took off running this way toward the end of the building. And I only ran down about 4 or 5 car lengths. And I heard the guy come through the door, and I heard him yell, "Freeze, you mother, I got you." Well, when I heard him say that, he didn't see me yet. So I ducked down between the cars and I hid between the cars. I was laying on the ground there and I was looking underneath the cars trying to see. And he grabs a hold of my buddy and he puts a 44 Magnum to his head, And he says, "You son of a bitches, you stole my last bike. Now you came for this one." And he goes, "But I put an alarm on it." He goes, "I put an alarm on it under the seat." and now I caught you. Well, I'm looking, man. He said, I called the cops. They're on their way. As soon as I heard that, bro, I knew that was my cue to get the hell out of there. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna have to get up and run for that door. And that door was probably about 30 yards away from me. And I said, oh man, am I gonna make it to that door? I never said I was no, speed runner or Jesse Owens or anything like that. So I was a big boy then, and I said, man, I got to get to that door. So he's holding Bob with the gun right to his head. And I'm thinking, man, maybe he'll get excited, shoot Bob, and I can get away, So I take off running, bro. And it was one of those deals when you're running, your legs feel like they're rubber.
Yeah, slow motion. It's like slow motion, right? It's like a dream.
Well, yeah, and I'm like, what? I'm like, what the hell? I can't run any faster than this. And as I'm running, he yells out, "Stop, you mother!" Boom! And he shoots. Bro, I can't even describe here on this show the sound that 44 mag made in that underground basement. It sounded like a cannon. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm running, right? Like this. And the bullet goes right past my ear, and I hear it. I hear the bullet. And it goes, and I thought, man, that was too close for comfort. And I didn't think he was that good of a shot. I think he just missed me. I think he was aiming to kill me. I think he was going to shoot me. So I get to the door. It's a big steel door. It says exit. I grab the door. I turn the knob. I pull the door open. He shoots at me again. The bullet hits the door while I'm holding it. It slams the door shut right out of my hand. That's how powerful the bullet was. And yes, once again, I heard a bullet go by, this time the left side of my head. And I saw the hole in the door. And it wasn't a hole that I wanted inside of me, So I said, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I opened the door. I ran up the stairs. I ran. Oh, I was running and running and running. I didn't even know where the hell I was running to. I was just running through yards, jumping over fences. And then I started running, and there was this big grass field, which I thought it was grass. But they had a big giant swimming pool in the ground, and they had a green cover over it. And I was running right for it, bro. I was going to go right into the pool. And all of a sudden, this big Great Dane comes running out of the house to bite me. So the dog scared me away. The dog scared me away from the pool. I turned left to run the other way, and the dog ran into the pool and went underneath the tarp, So I run, I jump over the fence, and then I run down, I run. Bro, I'm telling you, this is like almost like a fairy tale story that was so unreal. I run to this green fence, and it had about a 2-foot gap under the fence. So I laid on the ground, I rolled, I made it under. I'm running. I looked down because in the grass I could feel cement, like rocks. I looked down on the ground, and you know what they were? They were gravestones. They were all in the ground. They were all in the ground. I was running through a cemetery.
An old one.
And there was no above ground markers. They were all down. The guy cuts the grass. He cuts the grass over the stones, everything. So,
yep.
I don't know if you guys are going to believe this or not. I'm going to say it because, honest to God, it really happened on my skid, man. I put it in my book, like I told you. I was running, and I didn't know where I was. And I could hear this woman's voice in my ear. She says, Charlie, turn now. Didn't tell me what way to turn. I just heard this lady's voice say, Charlie, turn now. And I turned to my left, and I went running, and there was these bushes about 10 feet tall. And I run up to the bushes, and I pull them apart, and I look, swear to God, Bill, on my skin, I couldn't even make this up to you. My car was sitting right there on the street in front of me. Yeah. Yeah. And I told you I parked 2 blocks away when we walked. How did I come out right there by my car, man? Tell me that ain't weird. So I go to the front and I look down the street. Now there's like 5 cop cars down there, and they're all standing out in the street. So what am I going to do, bro? Come walking out between the buildings, get in my car and go? I don't think so. I'm a little smarter than that. So I go to the back of the building. I check the door. It's open. I go inside. It's a 4-family duplex, right?
Yeah.
I go down in the basement. I walk to the front. I go up the stairs. I open the door and I walk out like I fucking lived there. I walked to my car, turned the door, got in, started up the car, drove away, went around the block. I saw this big sign say Pine Lawn Cemetery. And that's where my grandma's buried.
Wow.
And I got these chills and it gave me like the creep, you know? But it was like my grandma saving my life. And hey. I never took another bike again.
How old are you? How old?
Probably, I would say I was probably maybe 28, 29.
How many holes did your friend have?
How many holes? Oh, wait. So I'm glad. Hey, no, I'm glad you brought that up. You're not going to believe this. So as I'm running through the yards, I hear boom, boom, 2 shots. And all of a sudden I'm running. I'm thinking, who the fuck is he shooting at? He had Bob, right? He had the gun right to Bob's head. So I'm thinking, it doesn't matter. Bob's dead now anyway. But I said, wow. I said, I hope he shot Bob. Because in my world, bro, like Repo knows.
It was you.
Right. Like Repo knows. We're so used to motherfuckers snitching on us, you know, or telling shit. So I was thinking, if they kill Bob, I'm free.
Yeah.
I'm fucking free, bro. So I get home the next day. Remember, now, this is back in the early 80s. When I get home, there's no cell phones. He calls my house phone, right? I pick it up. Hello. He goes, hey, are you okay? And I go, who is this? He said, it's Bob. I think he's in the police station trying to set me up, right?
Yeah.
I said, Bob? Bob who? He says his last name. And I said, so what's up, man? What are you doing today? I just act like it was a normal day. And he goes, hey, I'm trying to talk to you, dickhead. He goes, he said, you got away, obviously, right? I said, what are you talking about, man? He goes, last night with the bike, man. I said, I don't know anything about a bike, bro. And he says to me, you can talk to me. I'm not in the police station. I'm at home. I'm like, how the hell did you get home?
Mm-hmm.
He said, bro, remember when you took off? And I said, yeah. He said, he shot at you? Well, he pulled me outside and he had the gun to my head. And the police showed up and the police said, hey, put that gun down. And he says, no, man, I ain't letting this guy go. He ain't getting away from me. And the cop says, put the goddamn gun down. And he said, no. So the cop grabs him and tries to take the gun away from him. And while they're wrestling with the gun, Bob takes off running. You know?
Was that the gun going off?
Yeah. So when Bob took off running, the guy knocked the cop down and he went boom, boom, twice at Bob, but he missed him. And so now I know he's a bad shot, right? Now I know he's a bad shot.
Yeah.
So Bob goes, yeah, man, I ran about 5 miles. I couldn't run anymore. I crawled into a doghouse. I was sleeping in the doghouse, and then this big dog came out in the morning. And, man, I had to get out of there before he killed him. And I was like, man, this is the craziest shit I ever heard. And I swear to God, bro, I never ever took a bike ever again. And when we got into the club and into the red and white guys, they, Pat had that motorcycle shop, and he didn't want any heat on him, Little at the time did we know, because he was selling a couple $1 million worth of dope, But but he didn't want anybody rocking his boat. So he told us, if you guys steal any bikes, buy any stolen shit, you're out of here. You're done. And I never saw anything like that happen in the club after that. Not in any charters I was in.
What about
but
you,
guys, guys would take your bike though when they threw you out of the club. They take your bike,
Would you have to sign your bike when you first sign on? Do you sign your bike to them?
You used to. You used to have to. You don't know more. Yeah,
a lot of them were like that for the first year. Yeah.
Repo, how many people have you seen them sign their bike and then take the bike? Because you said you've seen a lot of people come through, right?
Well, PeeWee could tell you the same thing. In the time that I was around, between hang-arounds, prospects, members, I can't even put a real number on the amount of guys that came and left. There was someone that told me one time, it's a steamroller. The big red machine is a steamroller. Comes down the road at you. You grab on and you hang the hell onto it as long as you can. And when you can't anymore, it runs you over, keeps on going, and never looks back. But there was a lot of guys, and I don't know how, West Coast, but East Coast, I can't even. I truly could not put a number. It's in excess of probably 200 or more in my time that I saw come and go day and night. Hey, maybe we take a run down and hang out with this guy. He's not around no more. He's what? Yeah, they threw him out last week, and I think it was Arkansas. They went down there and they were trying to kick it up in around Little Rock or something at one time.
Yeah,
and boy, that went south on them. They didn't. They had some problems down there, and I gotta say, I thought they were handling it. What I knew of it, because I was tight with some of the the Illinois nomads and stuff, and I thought they were doing a pretty good job getting it up and going. And boy, overnight it was like, oh, you didn't hear? Didn't hear what? Oh, they went down there and they shut it down. They took everything, and wow, really? And at that time, I had a place down in Kentucky. I was like, really? We went over and got all the furniture out of the clubhouse they were starting down there. It was all black leather furniture. I'm like, that's some nice looking stuff. We might as well take it, put it in the fucking apartment here in Kentucky. They wasn't doing nothing with it no more.
That's like what happened to Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
Repo knows. I got a brother from Michigan that was in the club with me and Rod. His name is Jay. He's right outside. He's here visiting me. I said, you want to be on a podcast?
Tell him I said come inside.
He goes, I don't want to do it.
Yell out to him. Tell him, get the hell in here next to you.
Goes,
I feel a certain way. Tell him don't be scared. I feel a certain way now. He won't come on and at least say hello to me. Is he going to be at our next run, PeeWee? If he is, tell him I feel a certain way tonight. Yeah, he might want to come inside tonight.
He saw you on Brothers for Life. Say welcome, Jay.
Yeah,
he showed it to me. He goes, "Hey, here's Repo," and I said, "Yeah, there he is."
If everything goes right, this next one, wait till you see the bike I'm going to bring out that year.
Yeah.
You think it was crazy when I drank all that stuff that night and got on that bike and rode the mountain and rode? I still don't even remember riding back to where that hotel was. I just know I woke up there in the morning, and the lady that managed the place, I was saying something about that pool out there, and she goes, yeah, I watched you come downstairs naked and jump off of it in the fence and go in the pool. I'm like, I did. Sorry. She's like, "You were all right. You didn't bother nobody. Wasn't nobody else out there." I don't even remember, but that was some good fucking moonshine I was drinking that night.
Oh yeah.
Your runs get crazy,
Whew.
huh, PeeWee?
I seen Sunday. I seen Sam Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah, he said, "You see Repo around?" I said, "I talked to him."
Oh
But,
yeah. He and I talk every now and then.
But Jay and his son are here. You know, from Michigan. We were down in the shop down by the shop there, and I said to him, "Hey, here, try this, man." He goes, "What is this?" I said, "It's called blackberry, man. It's moonshine." And he goes, "The guys make it around here?" And I go, "Yeah." And I gave it to him. He took a sip of it. He goes, "Holy fuck!" I said, "Yeah, it's about 160."
I think that night I left there, I drank, I think 2 pints or 2.5 pints of that pecan moonshine before I got on the bike. Whew. I don't remember. I just remember being like really tired, and I won't tell him, "Man, I'm gonna go back to the hotel, man. I'm really fucked up. I want to go take a shower and slide in the rack." And I don't remember none of, and I think Dan was following me. He's like, "Man, you were like just zip, zip, zip. I didn't see a headlight no more. I thought you went off the road."
When I was interviewing Jeremy, he was telling me that a woman they were all with was partying. She was drunk, and they didn't know how to get her back, so they bungee corded her and ratchet strapped her to the bike. Have you guys ever done that? And what do you do if you guys are in a pack and
I have.
One of your brothers gets drunk or something? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I usually stick them in a car or something. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Like Repo said,
call somebody come pick them up. Yep. If there ain't an old lady there with a cage or whatever, just have somebody get them in a car and get them home.
I just never, Billy. I just never really had anybody ever on my motorcycle with me. You know what I mean? I never took like girls for rides, or I never packed my old lady going on most of the runs, because I figured, if I got killed, you know, she didn't choose the life I did, you know. Yeah. And the reason I thought like that is because you know the time I talked about the chick I saw 5 of them in 30 years be killed, you know. So
yeah,
I just didn't want it to be mine, you know.
Can you explain the situation?
Well, I mean, it's just the road itself. Like Repo tell you, the road's dangerous, you know. Like, you know, I hit that retread tire, bro. I flew up and I flew over it, and when I came down, I went right into the stones, and my bike just stopped. Thank God. Now, when Kevin hit it behind me, he had his old lady. He was the only guy packing his old lady. And he told me when he saw it, he leaned to the left to get away from it, and she leaned to the right. And I heard Jeremy tell me that. I heard Jeremy tell you that sometimes a guy tries to react and somebody might lean the wrong way. That's exactly what he's talking about. Yep. He leaned the other way, counterbalanced them, threw him over, and they tumbled. They just tumbled. And she lost her life.
Yeah.
She was stuck on the bike, right? He stayed
on the bike. He flew off. Yeah, he's out of the club now too. I talked to him the other day. But you know what's funny is he got married after that, and he had a couple girls, 2 girls. He said that's his life now. That's all he does. So when he called me, he had me on FaceTime, you know. He has daughters there, and he said, "Say hi to Uncle PeeWee." And they're like, "Hi, Uncle PeeWee." So it's kind of cute, you know. He told me that he's been watching the podcast. I got to tell you, bro, it was funny. I was at the drag strip last Saturday. They had the Nitro funny cars here. I went to the races, and I went with another old greaser that I grew up with, right? Funny, I got a greaser shirt on today, see?
Greasers for life.
Yeah. So I just don't smoke the cigarette. I leave that to Rod.
I do.
So, you too.
I'm smoking, man. I'm smoking, man. It's recreationally legal in this area down here, and
I'll have to blur that part out.
With that being said, I mean, I saw that. You know, I saw her get killed. I seen a girl one time. We were riding way back where a guy's girder broke broke off the front of his bike. On the expressway, the bike hit the ground. He went into a wobble. Bike flipped over. He went one way. His old lady went the other, and a semi ran her over. So,
Yeah.
I mean, so many things. And then another guy just flipped a 4x4, flew out the back of a pickup truck. He ran it over and he flipped. We ran up to his old lady. She's laying there, not a scratch on her, bro. Not a bruise, not a drop of blood. I said, hey, I wouldn't take her helmet off because you don't know what's wrong with her. She was laying there unconscious. I checked her neck. There was no pulse. She was dead. I said, don't pick her up, man. Even though I'm not getting a pulse, don't pick her up. When the paramedics got there and they lifted her up and they put her in there, they said what happened, bro, is when the bike flipped over, she broke the stem in the back of your head. You know what I'm talking about? At the bottom of your skull? Instantly killed her, yeah.
Instant. Yep.
She didn't have a scratch on her.
Not a scratch, bro. Not even a drop of blood on her face, nothing.
Yeah.
She had a full face helmet on.
The impact from hitting with the helmet?
Yeah, I don't know. I think so. Could have been. He didn't like go head over heels like Kevin did. He just hit the board and the bike went sideways. It just flipped once and it threw her. It didn't even look like a big deal, bro. That's why when he got up, he says, hey, you okay? And she's just laying there. And we all ran up to her and she was gone.
Wow.
Well, PeeWee, you had a guy on a run into the back of you.
Yeah. When I first got out of prison, we were coming down to where I live now. And we were coming down on the bikes. This guy named Joe, who used to be a prospect for us, he didn't make it. He was on a buddy of mine. I borrowed a buddy of mine's bike so he could ride. We were leaving, where the hell was it? I'm trying to think of it, in Texas, the top part of Texas.
El Paso?
Not El Paso. No, it was the top of Texas, man. Right where you're going to Oklahoma. I'm trying to think.
But you had left Vegas originally, didn't you? Heading that way?
Yeah, we left Las Vegas. But I should have knew something was up with this guy, Bill. We're at the hotel before we left. And I says to him, you all right? And he goes, oh, my back's killed me, man. I'm going to take a couple ibuprofens. I looked at his head.
Amarillo, Texas?
Amarillo. Thank you. So I looked at his hand, and he had 2 pills in his hand.
Oxycontins.
Right. Well, hey, I'm not a dummy. I'm not smart enough to tell you what kind of pill it is, but I can honestly tell you I'm not stupid enough to know a little tiny round pill is not a big ibuprofen. You know how big those are? They're like big capsules.
Yeah.
So when he says to me, I'm taking a couple ibuprofens, and I said, where? And he goes, right here. I said, they don't look like ibuprofens to me. Well, then we blast off, and we get down the road. We pull in a rest area. Everybody had to take a piss and stuff, right?
Yeah.
We walked up there, and he walks up, and he says, hey, man, we got time. I got to take a shit. And I said, go ahead. Hurry up. We'll be waiting for you. So we go out. We get on the bikes. We're waiting. I'm like, man, what the hell is with this guy? I'm getting all pissed off and shit, right? I go inside, and because I'm 6'8", you know, and I pretty much I can look over the top of the stall at you. You're in there jerking off. I'm going to see you. You know what I mean, bro?
Passed out in there, right?
Yeah, he's passed out. So I look in there and I says, hey, you son of a bitch. And he wakes up and I said, we're out here waiting for you, and you're in here sleeping. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. And he finishes up his work, and I said, let's get going. So we get out, we jump on the bikes, and I'm up front riding with Tomas. And we're riding, and I'm watching this son of a bitch, and he keeps like flying up behind me. Then he dropped back about a mile behind me. Then he comes flying up again, catch me. And then he dropped back about 4 or 5 blocks behind me. I turned over, I looked over at Thomas, and I said, I think this son of a bitch is falling asleep on the bike because he kept speeding up, slowing down, speeding up. Well, what happened was the pills kicked in. They were morphine pills. Yeah, morphine. That'll put you to sleep, bro.
Yeah.
It's nodding out on the bike.
Right. He's behind me, and his head goes back. And when his head went back, he turned, his head turned the throttle. I'm riding my bike, and all these cones bring us down the one lane. Just as we're crossing over the bridge that says, "Welcome to Oklahoma." And the way station's right there. Well, everything was slowing down because all the trucks were slowing down to go into the way station. And it was only one lane of traffic. So I get in there, man. I'm trying to stay ahead of this bastard, and he comes flying. He hits me at 80 miles an hour. And he had a 21-inch tire on the front of the bike, so it wedged in between my saddlebag and my fender. And the bike leaned to the left. He flew off and went rolling down the highway like 100 miles an hour. I didn't give a fuck about him. All I cared about was the bike I borrowed from my friend that the fucker was on. And then the bike broke my saddlebag off, and the bike hit the ground, and all I saw tumbling down the road, pieces flying off of it. And I just want to say it to you like this, bro. The guy I borrowed the bike from was not a guy that you mess around with, You don't do shit like that. And the last thing he said to me was this: "PeeWee, take care of my baby for me," because he didn't ride. He was an older gentleman. Guys, you're used to interviewing, Billy. Do you know? You read in between the lines?
Yeah.
Guys, you interview a lot. Yeah. Just got out, guys like that. And he said, "Take care of my baby." All he had was liability insurance on it because it sat in his garage. And it just fucking rolled on the highway, busting into a million pieces. Well, I pull off the side of the road and I put my kickstand down. My saddlebag's ripped off. My fender's pushed up against my tire. I just reached down like King Kong Bundy and I just ripped the fender right up in the air off of my tire. And I'm pissed, bro. I'm pissed. I walked over. I looked at the bike. I was so angry, bro. I walked over. Joe's laying on the ground on the asphalt. Now, it had to be hot, bro. It was scorching hot out. All he had on was a wife beater. Okay?
Yeah.
He was all road rash. 100% road rash, bro. There was no skin showing. He had a bone sticking out of his wrist. And he had a bone sticking out of his leg. I walked up to him, and all these truck drivers are standing there. And he goes, "I'm burning up. I'm burning up. I'm burning up." It was because all the skin was off of him, and he was burning. And I walked up, and he's laying there. And I'm just standing there staring at him. And all these truck drivers are looking at me. And he looks up, and he goes, "I'm sorry, PeeWee, I'm sorry." And I yelled as loud as I could, bro. "Fuck you, Joe. Fuck you." And wow. This guy's got no heart. No, Joe Blainer with bones sticking out. Oh, I wanted to kick him in the face, bro.
He don't feel the bones sticking out. Anyway.
I would have kicked him. I don't care about the bones sticking out. I would have still kicked him.
Oh. I felt like grabbing one of the bones and shoving it back in his arm. So I had to walk back, and then I'm standing by my bike, and the state trooper walks up to me, and I still had that tattoo on the side of my neck where it said "HELLS Angels" on my neck. I covered it up so people didn't think I was one of those guys anymore,
Yeah.
Too embarrassing. So he walks up to me. He sees my neck. He says, "Hey, "Are you a gang member?" And I said, "No." "Are you?" And he says, "No, but you are." And I said, "Who says I am?" He says, "Your neck." It says it right on your neck. I said, "Where on my neck does it say I'm a gang member?" And he goes, "Right there." And he points to it. And I said, "That's a club I used to be in, man. I'm not in it anymore. You don't see me wearing a patch, do you?" And he goes, "No." And I said, "Then I'm not in it anymore." Just like, you quit the force. Do you think people are still going to run by you and call you a pig? I said, "You're not a pig anymore." And he goes, "Well, we don't like being called pigs anyway." I said, "Well, I don't like being called a gang member."
Well, he still
And then
is
he
a
points,
pig, though, right?
right. Then he points to Tomas. He points to Tomas. And he's got a big AFFA on his arm, which just crosses through the A. And then he had a big death head on his arm right here with a big X through it. And he says, "Is that guy a gang member?" And I said, "I don't know, man. Why don't you fucking ask him?" So he walks away. And he goes out and I see Tomas screaming at him, because he's from Sweden, right, bro? So he has a really strong accent like that. He's like, "Good son of a bitch, I tell you nothing, you fucking." The guy was like freaking out. So I tell him, I had a bungee cord my saddlebag, the back of my motorcycle. And my bike still ran. I told you I pulled the fender out. So I said, "Let's go, man." I started up the bike. I said, "Let's finish this trip." Well, Joel was already airlifted out of there. And the wrecker already came and picked up the motorcycle, which I had to pay for to get out. So we went and came to the town I live in. And when we got here, I had to pay a guy, no bullshit, bro, $2,000 to drive from here to Oklahoma, pick up the bike, and then head back to Vegas. Then, when I got back to Vegas, I had to pay $7,000 to get the bike fixed for that certain gentleman I was telling you about.
Well, did you tell him about the wreck, and how did you tell him?
I told him just the way I told you, bro, and you know what? Sad to say, Billy, him and I were very close. Very close. And I told you he raised all that money for me when I went to prison, and he helped me out when I was in prison. He did a lot for me, bro. And when that happened, our friendship was never the same. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he called me every day. "Want to go to lunch? Want to go to lunch? I'm buying. Come on, we're going to lunch." No, I said, he goes, "Come on, go to lunch with me." And I go meet him for lunch every day. We'd sit and just kick it, And that stopped happening. And now I see him now and then. He comes over, he gives me a little hug. "Hey, how you doing?" It's like, "Hi, goodbye. Hey, Billy, how you doing? See ya." He was telling me, "I'm going to come out and visit you. I'm going to come out." Well, I've been here 6 years. He hasn't been here once. He ain't coming.
Yeah.
And it's sad. I really miss that friendship. I really do. And I went to Joel's house and I said, "You're going to help pay for this. You're going to help pay for this shit, bro. I'm paying for everything. And you're the dickhead who crashed the bike." So his bike was in the garage. The only reason he wasn't riding it, bro, because the carburetor started it on fire and it burnt the tank up and all the wires under the tank. So the bike wasn't running. But he had a 6-speed in it. It had like a 103-inch motor in it. The bike was all black. It wasn't a bad looking bike. It just had the burn mark on it. Yeah. So I just went over there. You know me, bro. I just went over and said, "Thanks for the bike, fuckhead." I took his bike, made him sign the title over and give it to me. And I brought it down here and I sold for $2,500. That's all it was worth,
Throw that towards the bike getting fixed, right?
Yeah, but look what I put out. I put out $9,000.
And it ruined your friendship.
And it ruined my friendship. I couldn't put a price on, Billy. That was sad. But yeah, like Repo said, he hit me 80 miles an hour. And bro, I gotta tell you, thank God I did all that powerlifting Thanks for all those steroids, you know.
Were
And
you
I was
there,
strong.
Repo?
Huh?
Were you there?
Huh?
Were you there? Were
I'm
you
here.
there with
No,
that?
No.
no, but I'm
No.
telling you, man, thank God for all those steroids. And big as I was, 450 pounds, when I was on the bike, when he hit me, the impact, man, the impact was so unbelievable. When he hit me in the back, it felt like he broke my back. I still got problems with the middle of my back. And when he hit me, I hung on to the handlebars because I knew it was coming. I could hear it. And I could hear the motor coming, man. So I held on for dear life. And when he hit me, bro, the bike mine was flipping over to the side. I held it up with all my might. I bent my handlebars in. And I don't give a fuck I bent them or not, man. I kept myself up and I didn't go down because I was on blood thinners and all kinds of shit. I would have bled out.
That'd have killed you. That could have killed you.
I wish Joe was on blood thinners. You know what I mean? I would have went over there and danced. I went over there and danced in the blood. You know what I mean? I would have did a fucking Navajo blood dance, something in the blood.
Hey, here's one. Hey, Joe, if you watch this podcast, could you come to the next run and PeeWee, allow PeeWee to at least kick you in the teeth a few times? And maybe we can invite that other guy to come out and give him a kick or two as well.
Yeah. So, hey, to wrap up a funny story on that goon, I didn't talk to him ever again after that. I was so mad at him.
Yeah.
Because he said it wasn't his fault, but it was his fault. He took the pills, bro. He took the pills. It was his fault. So anyway, about 2 years ago, he hit me up for a friend's request on Facebook. And I thought, man, do I want this fucking piece of shit in my life? And I thought, man, I'll try to be the better guy, turn a cheek, let it go. So I accept him as a friend. Not 2 weeks went by, he hits me up. Hey, PeeWee, can you borrow me $100? Boop, block, delete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. The audacity of some people, man.
Yeah.
You gotta have boundaries with people, right?
Oh, you got to, bro. You got to set them up.
People are wild. People are insane.
He was one of those guys too, Billy, that when he was a prospect, he was a good prospect. But when we got to Illinois, we were on the way to Laconia, New Hampshire. And we stopped in Illinois. The Illinois Nomads was having some kind of benefit party. So we stopped there, and all the prospects were out doing a watch, or they were serving food, or they're doing something. So I looked at Joe, and he's standing in line to get food with the members. And I mean, this makes me look bad, right, Repo? Makes me look bad as a president that my prospects stand in line with HELLS Angels to eat his food, but there's no other prospects in line but him. So I walked up to him. I says, "What are you doing, Joe? What are you doing?" He said, "I'm getting something to eat." I said, "Don't you think all these other guys want to eat too?" And he goes, "I don't know." I said, "Joe, get the fuck out of line before I knock you out. Go do what you were supposed to do." And honest to God, Billy, Repo, Repo, he would believe this. He's been there before, and he's seen this in the club. Right there in line, Bill. This guy's eyes filled up with water, and tears start coming down. I looked at him and I go, "What the hell is wrong with you, man?" He had a nervous breakdown right in front of me. And he goes, "I can't do this anymore, PeeWee. I can't do it anymore." And I said, "Listen, Joe, go up there, get a plate full of food, take it up to your room, and I'll come talk to you." I thought that was being cool with him, you know?
Yeah.
And I went up there, he ate his food, I got up there, I took another member with me because I always, like Repo would tell you, we always want somebody to hear what we're saying, so you can't lie or bullshit, you know. So I took another member with me, which is dead now too. His name was Obi Dave. So Dave went with me, and we walked in the room, and I said to him, "What's wrong, Joe?" And he goes, "I don't know." And he was like trembling. It was weird. It was really weird. I said, "Well, the club paid for the motel tonight. You got money to pay. You might want to stay another night. I'm going to take your rocker, Joe. You're done." And he goes, "I can never come back?" I said, "You got to wait a year and you can come back." But I said, "Right now, Joe, I can't even explain what the fuck you're doing. So just take this as an easy way out and go home tomorrow or the next day." And I really didn't see him much after that until he fucking rammed into me. You know?
So
see what being a nice guy gets you?
Yeah. $9,000, ruin the friendship.
Yeah.
And then ask for $100.
Yeah.
I think he was trying, PeeWee. I think he was trying to hit everybody up for money. He was a bad situation, his medical situation, his medical bills, his this, his that, his rent. I think he was going through the whole pack of us trying to hit everybody up for money.
He didn't hit me up. Jeez,
yeah, he was something else, bro. But you know, I felt sorry for him in kind of, I felt sorry for him kind of in a way because he didn't really have any money, and like Repo said, it cost a lot of money to be a Hell's Angel, bro. He didn't have it. He couldn't go anywhere. He couldn't do anything. He couldn't afford this. He couldn't afford that. Christ almighty, man. He never had a vehicle running. He had a nice bike. He bought a new Road Glide. And I'm going to tell you, a couple times he borrowed it to me. If I knew in the future he was going to ram into me, I would have wrecked it. You know what I mean? But I didn't know the future, bro. So, you know, with that being said, he borrowed me his bike, and I was just trying to be a nice guy.
Have you had a lot of people you have to let go from the club, like prospects? Both of you guys. Have you guys had a lot of people that, like, you ain't cutting it? And have you had any crazy situations where you got to let them go and some things transpire?
I had it happen to me. I was in Minnesota.
We had that. I was saying we had that one. We had that one prospect out there. I think it was at the 05 USA run. A former pagan, no less, that for 2 years he couldn't make a USA run, and then it was the East Coast president. You know, shit was in a bind-up way at that time, and he went. For some reason, you know how it is, PeeWee. You either ride there or you have to have a bike available to you at that run, where you must go back and forth to the run site with the bike, so you can move to the next stage one day. Well, he claims he has this Texas chopper, and you can't get parts anywhere for it. And something went bad, and it's going to take 2-3 months. Well, you're going to go fucking tell this guy that's the East Coast president, and it's been around for a while, and knows bikes. And so, you know, I had talked to them. They said, "Hey, you know where this fucker is, man? If you see him, send him to us." I find him. I said, "Hey, look, you know, geez, what the hell do they want to talk to me about?" I said, "I don't know. Go talk to him. But whatever you do, don't lie to them when you go over there. If they ask you about your bike, tell them what it is." He goes over there and he ran that same stupid goddamn story, lied to him. 5 minutes later, those guys come up to me and they go, "Where is that piece of shit? Get him the fuck out of here. Take him back to the hotel. Take his shit. Call a taxi, call something, beat his ass, throw him out in the street, whatever, but don't ever bring him back here or to anything else, or we've got a major problem." Well, he goes and he lies straight to their right to their face. How he didn't get his ass beat right there and then, I have no clue.
When
None
you see
whatsoever.
him, Repo, when you see him, is he like copping pleas with you? Like, oh man, no.
Oh yeah, running all kind of stupid shit. Oh, but I said, man, you fucking done, man. Give me your fucking shit, and if you got a problem. And there was one prospect there. He wrote it. He was right behind me. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, take your fucking shit off now. We're gonna come in there and we're gonna take it the fuck off in a bad way. Now pack your bag, get the fuck out of the room, start walking. And it was that dam bridge was right near the run site that was down in the holiday. And keep walking till we can't fucking see you no more, and hurry up about it. And because whatever you told them, whatever that lie was, it must have been a real doozy. But even at that run, man, I seen. I'm gonna tell you, man. I think just the time I was on site, probably 4 or 5 guys get their teeth knocked in because they whatever the issue was, and it was different places that it was happening to. But yeah, they were getting their shit straightened out. But I got to tell you, one of them, I mean, PeeWee, you know him. He was a Illinois Nomad member. He's passed away now. Pirate. And that's when, you know, all that shit had went on down there in Arkansas. Yeah. And, man, they beat his ass that day. But, you know, for a little guy, man, he had heart. He had fucking heart. Man, he got back up 4 or 5 times. And I mean, he was getting nailed. And he's down on the ground, bloodied up. And even the dude said, look, man, just say it's over. Just say you're done. Don't get back up again. Just say but he kept getting back up. And I'm just sitting there like, man, he taking a whole world of stomping that he ain't got to take no more. Just fucking, that's it. I'm done.
You did the same
and it was over, you know.
You did the same thing.
It was over.
Like, take the jacket off.
You know,
like, fuck you, come get it, right?
Fuck you. You gotta earn it, man. I earned it. You gotta earn it to get it from me. I ain't giving it to you.
So,
you know,
when you got out, how did it come about? Did they have a meeting and say you're out? Like, what happened?
No. We had just our regular meeting, and I was the president, and I owned the clubhouse. And they were all mad at me. They're all mad because when I went in there, when they arrested all of us, see, I was fighting 2 cases at the same time. I got in a fight at the Union Hall with a guy. I broke up a fight between 2 people, and when I was splitting them up, one of the guys punched me in the head. So, you know me, I just spun around, I hit him, and I laid him down. And I didn't know it, but I got arrested for that, and they brought me in, and I had that charge on me, and then they arrested all of us in the club for the wedding chapel fight. So when I went in there, you know, I basically was just saying, and I tell everybody, the club said they threw me out. They're lying pieces of shit. Yeah. They're all liars. They're lying. Yeah. From Greg Domi down. I saw him tell somebody we kicked him out. He kicked me out. He couldn't even kick in a piece of my shit. So with that, I was just like,
your last day in the club.
Oh, so we have the meeting. There's 12 people at the table. That's how many I had in my charter, not counting prospects outside. And we're sitting there, and I said, so let me ask you guys something. Do you guys think on that tape, I didn't say anybody's name, so how did you guys come up with the conclusion that I was snitching on somebody or I was telling the cops something wrong? Because every time in Sturgis the cops would raid us, first words out of their mouth was, "PeeWee, the cops are here, talk to them." I said, "Why don't you talk to them?" And they said, "You're better at it." Well, obviously I'm not, you know, because they all were like freaking out that I said some secret agent. So, with that being said, bro, I was the one who sat at the end of the table and I said, how many of you guys here think I disrespected the club in any way when I talked to those cops? And 7 guys raised their hands out of 12. I stood up real nonchalantly, Billy. I unzipped my jacket, took it off, I laid it on the table, and I said, I quit. And they all went, what? I said, I quit. I said, if you guys don't believe in me, then I don't deserve to be here. I'm in the wrong place. And they're like, oh, you're kidding, man, bro. One of the guys goes, bro, you can't quit, man. You're our boss, man. I said, that ain't the way you all feel about it. You guys don't believe in me. I'm leaving. And nobody said nothing. They're all quiet except that one guy. And then my son stood up. He was in the club at the time. He stood up and he said, I'm going to quit too because you guys are going to start talking shit about my dad and I'm going to start beating the shit out of every one of you. And he could. So he basically told him, fuck it, I quit too. And we both walked out of there together. Yeah. And they said, what about the clubhouse? And I said, just keep paying the bills.
Did anyone else quit besides you and your son? Did anyone else?
No. And then what happened was nobody like Vegas was a shit charter. And it still is a shit charter. But they wouldn't take any of my guys because we didn't like each other. And that's a traditional Hell's Angel thing, charter hating charter. You gotta hate some kind of charter when you're in the club, right, Repo? If you want to be a real Hell's Angel. Like when I was in Frisco, they hated Daly City. You know what I mean? Hated them. But we were in the same club together, but they hated them. So we were Sin City, and we hated Las Vegas, and they hated us. So we were on the program. We were doing the right program. We just didn't get all the notes right, So, fuck 'em, man, And I said, just pay the bills and you guys can stay. And those bastards, they stole everything in the clubhouse, all the appliances, everything that were in there when I bought the place. And they stripped it. And I found out 3 months later from the bank there was no payments coming in. I had to go pay up. And it cost me around 10 grand. And not only, I could go on and on with the money they owe me.
So they all just they all just leave the clubhouse, right?
Yeah.
Take everything out of there, and then do you ever run into them again? And when do you ever see them again? And do they tell you, "Oh, you're out bad"? Do they say anything?
Yeah. 4 months later, they called me and they said, "Hey, you're out bad." I told them, who gives a fuck, all bad, good. So I kind of enjoyed it because I'd be sitting there working on my truck in front of the house because I moved into that house, that clubhouse. I moved into it. I owned it.
Yeah.
So I moved into it, and I had one of the guys swing by and stop there one time when I was working on my truck. And I was on a street, and he pulls in there, and I said, "What are you doing here?" And he goes, "Oh, I just stopped and say hi. How you doing?" I said, "Don't ever come here uninvited again." And I knocked him out. And I did. You tell those guys, any one of them I run into, that's what I'm going to do to you. Now, I'm going to have to sound like a liar because with all the money that they owed me, if I see it in their bikes, I'm taking one of them. They owe me a lot of money. I want to be the guy at a 81 run, and I want to load up like 3-4 semi-loads of those fucking things.
Yeah.
Go to Aurora and meet them there.
You might get back 10% of what you put out the time you were in the club then, P.
Right.
So what happens with the shop? During this time, you have the shop still, right?
I had the shop in Sturgis. So there were 3 owners on it, and the other 2 owners, I ain't going to mention, there's some punks, they they basically stole the shop from me and told me, you're all bad. Fuck you. We ain't paying you.
So you didn't get anything out of the shop deal?
80 grand they burned me.
Wow.
$80,000.
Yeah.
So it was a costly decision, right?
Yeah. So I got to start grabbing some bikes or something, bro.
Hey, whatever
Repo,
works.
Repo and Jeremy will get you guys going.
Right.
They don't call him Repo for nothing.
Yep.
Well, you guys have some
I don't
great
even
stories.
I don't even know if Jeremy had a nickname. I don't think he did. Did he say he did? Really?
No.
Did he say he did? I don't think he did. I think it was just Jeremy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. A lot of people
He
love
is.
this interview.
You know, bro, he came to me in Las Vegas, and he said, PeeWee, I want to be a Hell's Angel. And I said, no, you don't. Because I could see the backstabbing bullshit. It wasn't a brotherhood. And I told him, I said, bro, you don't want to come into this, man. It's not good. And it would have been bad for him when the shit all went down with me, you know? It would have been bad for him.
Told me, I asked him, I said, PeeWee warned you about all this, right? And he's like, yeah, he did. He said, when I was riding with PeeWee, I had all the benefits of being a Hell's Angel, but he wasn't one.
Right. I let him come to all the parties, do whatever he wanted, bro. I told him, don't do this. I'm begging you as a friend, don't do this. And then he moved to Texas, and when he moved to Texas down in McAllen, he was working for his dad's brother that would they would like what do you call it? They would give jobs out like the truck drivers, loads, you know, brokers. They were brokers. And they would say, hey, Billy, I got a load coming out of New Jersey going to LA. You want it? It pays this a mile by the mile. And you'd say yay or nay, right? Yeah. So that's what Jeremy did for his uncle. And they worked together and he did that. But Jeremy's a good business guy. He took his head, he bought some tattoo shops, and then he had a smoke shop, and he had a tanning booth. And he had all that shit going for him. But I saw it, bro. He bought a brand new pickup truck, and the guy who sold him the pickup truck was a Hispanic guy. And I seen by his tattoos and shit, he had like some club tattoos on his arm. He was with like, I don't want to say a name because I'm wrong. You know, it was like one of those Mexican names that like the Banditos use for all their support clubs, like the Hermanos, I don't know, Mexican hats, you know, the bad hat, who knows, all that crazy shit. But I told Jeremy, I see something in the future coming, bro. I hope you ain't going to do it. And he goes, what? I said, are you going to join with this guy's club? And he goes, no. Jeremy didn't even have a bike at the time. So I was visiting him and I left. The next time I seen him, I seen a picture of him. He's on a road glide and he's wearing that patch with that guy. And I was like, God damn it, Jeremy. I called him up. I said, man, I thought you weren't going to do that. And he goes, oh, man, the guy's cool, you know, and they support the Banditos, which I said they did and stuff. And then after a while, the Banditos just said, Jeremy, come our way. And next thing I see a picture of Jeremy on his Facebook, and he's standing by a giant 1% sign, and he's got the Bandito patch on. And he comes to my house and sticks a big Bandito sticker on my refrigerator. So he's like, you know, yeah, they're cool, man, they're cool. And all of a sudden, hey, man, those guys fucked me. They threw me out. They did this. I said, hey, just like I said in my book,
welcome.
We're all the same. It's all the same program, right, Repo? Just different color schemes.
Yep. And you guys, do you feel like all the people that are in different clubs, they're all basically the same types of people?
Yes.
We're all the same, just a different patch on.
Yeah. Because I hear the horror stories. I hear the horror stories from every one of them in every one of those clubs. Every one of them.
Yeah, the Outlaws. Like,
Yeah.
do you think it's crazy that you
Mhm.
guys can get along with people that you once had war with?
I'm best friends with Mooch. You know what I mean? Mooch is cool as hell.
You got to get
Mooch
them
is-
to come on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
talked to him and he just said he felt uncomfortable, which I can understand. You know what I mean? He trying to feel it, but hey, Mooch is cool as hell, man. And I just saw a post, and I know Rod saw it on a thing where Mooch is standing with two ex-Hells Angels, and they just went on a big ride together.
Yeah.
How cool is that? You know what I mean? Who would ever thought that had
Yep.
happened?
That wouldn't happen. That would not have happened before. Well,
But
you
it
might have went
shows
on a ride, but there might not be a number coming back.
Right. And it goes to prove that you can get along and you can coincide with each
Oh, yeah.
other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just they don't want to, because the Angels are more arrogant, and they think that they got bigger turds in the toilet than the rest of us.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories where people
Well, I
put
tell
their
you,
patch on and it turns them into another person.
Yes.
yeah, they're a whole new person.
Those guys are a dime a dozen.
But, yep. It takes a lot of heart. It ain't just a patch. You got to have something behind it. And a lot of guys ride on who they are, not what they are.
True.
So,
True. Very true.
Do you think the wars and things like that will ever stop?
No, I think they'll stop. They'll probably stop, right, Rod? When the feds shut all the clubs down.
yeah. But, like
with all the terrorist shit
right now,
it's not
go
good.
ahead.
No, I'm just saying, Rod, with all this terrorist stuff, it ain't good for anybody, bro.
Yeah.
Not even for Joe.
Well, how many guys? No, but I know a few guys that were in the club that actually got charged under the Patriot Act because of the way that it's written. Well, you're using something that was drawn against terrorists from outside of our country against people that are citizens of this country. That's some Department of Justice bullshit. Bullshit.
Well, just like I was reading something the other day, and they said people go to church, right? Some of the members get in trouble, but they don't consider the church a gang. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of people are Christians.
Hey, if you're a cop,
you're
a cop. You got a patch and you got a badge. You got Iron Order. Down where I used to live in Jersey, there was a club, Slayers or something. They're like a Hell's Angels support club, and they got fucking ex-law enforcement, corrections officers, which in Jersey, they were considered law enforcement. I don't know about other states, but they have just the same credibility as a regular law enforcement officer. Well, you here you go. You got cops in the club that are supporting these other ones. Well, if the rubber meets the road, what do you think those cops or ex-cops, retired cops are really going to do? Are they going to shoot it out outlaw style or Wild West? Fuck no. And who's going to be the first one sitting on the stand? Yes, I swear to tell the truth. This one over here did that, and the three of them that are in the back that you didn't charge yet, they were the other ones. Oh, shit.
And like you said, PeeWee, a lot more angels kill angels than anything, right? They kill their own.
Right now, they're on a pretty good roll. If they were fighting the war against each other, they're winning.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. And again, I give the credit to where credit's due. That other club down here, there was a. Now, I know it's propaganda, probably part of it, but there was a thing we watched on the internet where a guy that was the head of gang task up in New Jersey, and he said, and this was just a couple of weeks ago that it came out, and we caught it, in the tri-state area up there, which is like New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, they estimate the 16s to be approximately 1,300 strong, just in those 3 states. 1,300 of them. Well, that probably outnumbers the Hells Angels altogether, just in 3 states.
I've seen them in my state.
Oh, I think they got. Yeah, I think they're going to mind their manners.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to start it here.
The guy to talk to is going to be probably on the street in the next couple of months.
I'm friends with him. I'm cool with him.
Yep.
I've talked to him. Yeah, I've talked to him. He was going to come to Vegas, and he said, hey, we'll go eat some sushi. I said, I love it. I was eating sushi when I was talking to him. And he says to me, I want to come in for the Mr. Olympia. And I said, well, come on in, man. And he says, everything cool? And I go, what do you mean? I was out of the club already. And he goes, was everything cool, though? And I said, with who? And he said, them other guys, am I going to worry about them? I said, listen, the only way they're going to bother you is if we go knock on the clubhouse door and drag them out.
Yeah.
They ain't coming out. They ain't coming out.
I was telling Bill, maybe a month ago, Bill, there was a, I don't know if he's a former president, whatever, a pagan that was up in front of Newark, New Jersey, Hells Angels clubhouse doing a video.
Yeah.
And he's standing right under the camera calling them a bunch of bitches. I know you're inside. Come on out, you fucking bitches.
Did you see
Ain't
that?
Nobody came outside.
A woman shot up one of the Hells Angels clubhouses recently.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Probably a pissed off girlfriend.
Yeah,
that found out the guy was married.
Yeah, woman shot up a clubhouse.
Yeah, bro, anything I see on Instagram or like Facebook, anything that's got any 81 shit in it, I block it, delete it. I don't, none of it.
I've got some guy keeps messaging me saying, you want to join the club? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? This guy's a weirdo. He goes, you're not ready to be a member? I said, no. I said, I don't want to be a member of anything. Yeah. Look at this. This is a video that a woman sent me. You guys see the old lady interview I did with the former Bandito support club member. Look what she did to her husband's patches.
Oh, you're going to love this.
It's out of that era.
She burned the patches.
Good.
She burned. Your mic's muted, Repo. She burned the patches.
Well,
come back over there.
Good for her. Good for her, man.
Yep.
She's got a lot of information about a lot of things. I'm like, I don't need to put that out there.
If I found shit, I would stay away and say, here, I don't want this shit no more. I don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get enamored with something, and it doesn't turn out to be. I had a
burn party when I got out of jail. I had a nice burn party.
Did you do the same thing?
I gave most of everything away. I just fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah. It's all pointless shit, right?
Yeah. It's all garbage.
Let the fans have it.
I reached out 3 or 4 times for them to get the rest of the shit. Nobody came. Nobody wanted to come. I'll burn your shit then. Fuck it. Means that much to you that you didn't come to get it, I'll burn it.
Well, thank you guys for joining me. You guys got a lot of stories. I mean, we could talk for hours and hours, but it's always good when you guys come on. Appreciate you.
Right on.
Hey, PeeWee, when you get up from here and you go outside, take your right hand, put it upside Jay's head. Tell him I said, what the fuck, you don't come on here and talk to us. I feel a certain kind of way now.
I'll tell him. I'll tell him, bro.
Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate you guys. Have a great
All right.
night. And if you guys
Hey,
like this show, huh?
Chattin with Staxx.
I appreciate
That's
it.
right.
If you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, too fucking bad. Start your own podcast.
Right on.